Most of us know that a very common way of putting a loved one to rest is burial, but there's a lot that goes into preparing them for said burial. We deteriorate to a point where we can be unrecognizable. In order for them to look good for their loved ones, they need to be embalmed. Today I will be talking about the process of embalming and the history of how it all began. Embalming, or artificial mummification, started in 3200 BCE in Egypt, where they had priests specifically for mummification. They would remove organs and apply natron, which is a mixture of sodium carbonate, decahydrate, and sodium carbonate that would help absorb any moisture from the body and protect it from bacteria. Something else that was used was something called cinnabar. The red mercuric sulfide in the cinnabar helped preserve the body in a way that was similar to the embalming fluid they use today. Arterial embalming was formed in the 17th century when a man named William Harvey discovered the circulatory system. He started by studying the blood flow in animals' hearts and eventually moved up to humans. It was William Hunter, though, that used the research for mortuary purposes. He worked a lot on pregnant women and their fetuses. They used this form of embalming to make bodies last in the 19th century because people wanted their bodies or the bodies of their loved ones to be transported to specific places that would take a while to travel to. Chemical embalming didn't evolve until the 1860s during the Civil War when a physician named Thomas Holmes used an arsenic mixture in arterial embalming. Arterial embalming is the process of making incisions in the carotid artery and in the right jugular vein in order to flush the body out using an embalming mixture that has formaldehyde in order to slow down the decomposition process. Formaldehyde didn't make its way into the funeral industry until 1893 when a man named Ferdinand Blum found out that its preservative properties could be used on the tissue in the body. It also prevents bacteria by making sure the cellular proteins cannot act as nutrients for said bacteria. It was discovered in 1859 by a Russian chemist by the name of Alexander Butlerov, but its properties weren't discovered until 1867 by a German scientist, August Wilhelm von Hofmann, who crossed air and methanol over a heated platinum spiral to make his discovery. People usually mix formaldehyde with chemicals such as methanol, ethanol, and glutaraldehyde in order to make embalming fluid, but people can also just mix the formaldehyde with water. Both mixtures work just the same and help the body still look like it's alive. A lot of stuff happens to the body when someone passes. Livor mortis, which is the first step of the decomposition process, causes the body to have a bluish purple color at the very bottom of the body, depending on which position the person died in, due to gravity making all the blood settle. After livor mortis, rigor mortis sets in, which causes the muscles to stiffen, but they don't stay that way. They become limp again after a day or two. After rigor mortis, alga mortis sets in, which causes the body to feel cold to the touch. This is because the brain is dead, and with the brain dead, the body can't maintain its internal temperature. Other things that can happen to the body are the body turning green due to gas buildup, something called marbling, which is caused by the bacteria forming in the blood vessels, skin sloughing, which is caused by moisture disconnecting the epidermal layer from the dermal layer of the skin, and the corneas can form a black stain due to them drying out since the eyes remain open after death. The final stage of decomposition is putrefaction, which is when scavengers clean everything off the corpse until there is nothing left but the skeleton. This just goes to show that the embalmers have a lot they must work on when they receive a body. It's preferable to bring the body in before the skin and soft tissues are removed, but that's not always the case. An embalmer can never predict the condition the body will be in when they receive it because it's dependent on how the person died, when they died, and how the family wants them to look for the funeral. It's not an easy job. That's why many people don't volunteer themselves for a job like that. The funeral industry needs strong people.